watch how water completely shatters on impact. It's a relentless, heavy downpour, but this taut piece of fabric easily pushes the water away. Pull back and you'll see the exact same thing on almost every city street during a storm. A massive, overlapping sea of black canopies. Look closely at who carries what. While many women navigate these storms under bright, vibrant colors, men, on the whole, stubbornly stick to black. It's the default uniform for a rainy day. But if we track this object back through time, we hit a strange contradiction. For the vast majority of human history, the umbrella was entirely useless in a storm. The design we carry today is the result of a long journey, moving from the scorching deserts of the ancient world straight into the damp laboratories of 18th century Europe. That completely ordinary, dark folding canopy sitting by your door holds a 3,400-year history, driven by absolute power, stubborn social divides, and one highly specific chemical accident. We start 3,400 years ago in Mesopotamia. People didn't need to block rain here. They needed a shield against the punishing, burning sun. Keeping cool was a heavily restricted luxury. This sunshade was a status symbol, indicating extreme royal privilege. The monarchs didn't even carry it themselves. An attendant walked behind them, ensuring the ruler remained comfortably in the shade, while commoners baked in the open air. The entire purpose of the object was to cast a shadow. In fact, the English word umbrella comes directly from the Latin root umbra, which translates literally to shadow. You can still see a direct echo of this original use today. In several African communities, a designated bearer closely follows the chief, carrying a massive, vividly colored ceremonial canopy. For most of its existence, this object was a tool of hierarchy. It existed to cast a literal and metaphorical shadow of authority. Repelling rain simply wasn't part of the equation. By 1200 BC, the Egyptians added a new layer of meaning. The umbrella transitioned from a marker of wealth into a strict symbol of high religious morality. They looked up and imagined the sky itself as an enormous protective canopy formed by the stretched body of a deity. Carrying a miniature version of the heavens over your head signaled that you were living under divine protection. But cross the Mediterranean into the Roman Empire, and the cultural rules changed drastically. The Romans imported the umbrella, but they firmly categorized it as an exclusively feminine accessory. Roman men refused to touch them. The Romans also experimented with the materials, building their canopies out of oiled paper. It didn't take long for women to realize something: that paper coated in oil blocked out water just as effectively as it blocked out the sun. This created a highly specific scene at the ancient open-air Roman theaters. When a sudden storm hit, the women sat perfectly dry and comfortable under their canopies. The men, strictly bound by their social codes, sat completely exposed and got completely soaked. That specific divide, female practicality clashing against male pride, marks the exact point in history where the shadowcaster finally started doing double duty as rain gear. Let's move ahead to the 1700s in Europe. The climate here was relentlessly wet, and citizens desperately needed a durable, mass-market way to stay dry while navigating crowded city streets. To solve this, manufacturers turned to heavy woven wool. They took the fabric and coated it with a highly specific, heavy oil. This process sealed tight all the tiny gaps between the fibers, creating a solid barrier against the rain. But this engineering fix came with an unavoidable chemical consequence. The specific oil they used permanently stained the wool. It completely blocked the light and turned the fabric pitch black. That heavy, dark, strictly utilitarian aesthetic changed the social dynamic. Stripped of its delicate, decorative look, European men finally gave in and broke their centuries-old refusal to carry them. A sharp new divide took hold. If you were carrying a bright white parasol, it was meant for a woman blocking the sun. If you carried a heavy black canopy, it was an essential piece of a man's rain gear. Those original oiled wool umbrellas actually broke down and rotted quite quickly, and today we build them from advanced synthetic materials that can easily be dyed absolutely any color on the spectrum. So if the material no longer dictates the design, why is it so hard to find a men's rain umbrella that isn't black? The psychological link simply stuck. In the public mind, that dark canopy became synonymous with true waterproofing. A 300-year-old chemical accident froze the design in place, leaving us with a permanent staple of modern survival gear.